I am the Red Cyclone! Ah!
Hello, welcome to another episode of the It Gets Better I Swear podcast. This is your episode for 10/21/18. I am your host, Louis Beans, and I'm here with Merc with the mic.
Yo.
What is up, Merc?
What's up, man? I'm just looking forward to Red Dead Redemption next week.
That is going to be a big deal. It might be declared a national holiday. I don't know if the kids have school.
They're not going to be there.
Yeah, they're not going to be there. That's a damn shame.
It's your education before you play.
Listen, school's out, 2:30? Come on, man. You can wait. Just learn for a little bit.
I remember that having to do that. Shit, I remember for Vice City.
Okay.
Vice City. I cut school, and you want to know who I saw buying the video game with me?
Who?
Teacher.
Wow. that's awesome. All right.
So
Teachers,
we were like, you don't say none, I'll say none. All right.
Okay, that's cool. Was the store near your school? That's why?
Yeah, it was the Chinatown.
Okay, understood.
Remember when Elizabeth had their game market downstairs in the mall? Yeah, because they had it early, and also they were charging half off.
Nice.
Well,
they
don't charge tax.
They don't charge tax. Yeah. Yep.
I miss those days.
Yes, you and me both. And also being one of the few people who would go there, because it was very rare when it was packed.
No, I used to go there all the time. Those are my people. I got cool with everyone there. I used to get my videotape animes there and all that stuff. I used to get some obscure shit too.
That's where. See, I wasn't a big anime tape guy because most of my friends bought them, so I just watched this. But I remember the one that I did get into, I think it was like the second half of Kenshin.
Yeah.
I got into, so I have a bunch of the tapes of that. I never did do Dragon Ball.
I watched Dragon Ball when I did kind of like on my Hulu.
I watched it on Cartoon Network back in the day. I had to watch it that way. So we didn't buy tapes of that. But remember them dollar carts?
Yep.
The dollar noodles, though?
Dude, the wings.
The wings, the noodles, the dumplings.
Wings, noodles, and a thing of fried rice for $3.
Fried rice, yes, that shit was amazing. Oof, man, R.I.P. old school Chinatown.
That lady's still there.
Get out of here! Really?
She's still there. Yeah, when I did jury duty, like I went to her probably 3 times.
Really?
It's a little more expensive, but she's still there.
Well, I mean, listen, it is what it is, but it's still tasty as hell, man.
Come on. Yeah, it's fucking great. Like I love those carts. They had the donuts on a stick now.
Really? All right. You about to make me take a trip to Chinatown? That ain't even fair.
Yeah,
we just started.
They're still there.
Podcast is canceled. We're going to Chinatown.
Let's go get some, and then we will continue.
oh my God! Take the podcast on the go.
Yeah, sadly, the gaming community in Chinatown is not really there, like stores and stuff like that. But
the rent's too damn high.
I don't even think it was the rent; it was more the fact that they did some shady underneath shit.
Well, I mean, listen, J&L, they found a way to survive.
Yeah, they went to Midtown and charging an arm and a leg because they had that Midtown tax.
That's what they were good at. Oh, already. But the other place, I feel like, remember, they had the whole underground area. Like, that was, and that whole thing is just gone now.
Well, originally, J&L was in that little mall.
Mm-hmm. They were around the corner from, like, the escalator on the other side. Yeah,
they had that whole fucking.
And you know what? I'll be honest to you.
Yeah.
I did not go down there because I knew they were more expensive. I went to the other side with the cool
Game
dudes. Where you had the
Village.
gun. Okay, that's what they were called.
Game Village, yeah.
Okay.
I used to go to him. Well, there used to be one right next to the escalator, which it was the same owner as the one over there as well. So that was the first store that got closed, was that one. But he went with more of the current stuff, and the other one he had Sega Saturn, he had other stuff.
He had a bunch of Dreamcast
And
stuff.
then-
That's what, dude. I feel bad because I had the opportunity back then. Like I could have bought all those Dreamcast controllers he had. Like because when they were getting towards the point where they were closing, they were cheap.
Yeah.
Especially like I wanted to buy the cases so bad, but I didn't.
Yeah.
The smoke black case for the Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
Because we knew how to, we knew how to take them off and everything, and they had the official ones.
Yeah.
I remember that. They don't do that anymore. They don't really make the do-it-yourself kits anymore.
Well,
You have to get it from hobby shops. But like, do you know if there's an official Sony branded or Microsoft branded do-it-yourself kit for taking the shells off?
No. Because that breaks your warranty.
I know, but fucking Dreamcast did it.
Yeah.
Sega did it. They didn't give a shit.
Yeah, but also Sega didn't have that warranty sticker on it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, granted, it was the Wild West back in those days. You could do a lot of stuff with your console.
Yeah.
So,
I remember getting the Japanese ship from there. They did my Japanese
they did chips and everything. Yeah. Damn.
But then,
That stuff was awesome.
Yep.
They were the first store I saw the Metal Gear figures in.
Yeah.
And they had Mad Gundams at the top, like above the glass cases.
Yep.
I bought Mad VMUs there. Oh man. Yeah, during the Dreamcast era, that store was my spot.
Yeah, during the Dreamcast era, that was like a big spot. And the beginning of PS2.
Mm-hmm.
And then when
I think I bought a second type from there too.
Yeah.
I think so.
A lot of like the bootleg games and stuff like that. I remember bootleg. There was 2 spots for bootleg games. There's one on Mott Street, which I knew the dude because he went to school with me.
Oh, nice.
So
cool.
he used to give me the games for $2.
Ah, I got you.
So he'll give me again like how I got my VHS tapes. I got cool with the dude, and he used to give me really cheap tapes, but he'll give me some obscure shit because I never watched. I was like, just give me something random.
Yeah.
So same thing with the games. My boy used to do that. So that's when I discovered Pepsi Man. That's when I discovered.
Oh wow.
Shit like
was there an English version of that?
No, it was a Japanese version. But a lot of the words and stuff were in English because it was Pepsi.
Understood. Yeah.
But I was able to get that. I remember them making the remakes of Mega Man even before the collection because they actually made them in Japan. They had
you're right. I do remember those. Oh, shit. Yeah, I remember the other bootleg spot was like it was further away from Chinatown Fair.
It was in a mall and underneath the bridge.
Yes, it was. No, okay, there was another one then. The one that I remember, you had to go upstairs. It was like an elevated. It was like an elevated mall.
In Mott Street.
That's Mott Street. Okay, so yeah, that was the one you had to go upstairs, go around the corner, and inside the store they had like 3 cabinets. I think they had Second Impact. When I was going, they didn't have Third Strike because Third Strike wasn't out. They had like Second Impact and like 2 other Street Fighter games. I think maybe it might have been Darkstar was Capcom vs SNK. I think had just come out. That's where I first saw that. So what we used to do, most of the people used to know. I think Japstar wasn't with us, but we knew him and we knew Cleric at the time, aka Jinkies. We see you. But what we do was go up there and we would buy like the bootleg Dreamcast games, and like if you bought like 3, the guy would charge you like less. So like, we just bought a bunch of shit. We didn't know half the stuff was because a lot of stuff we found out later you couldn't play it online. Because it's a bootleg of a game that is already out there in circulation, so you can't use the same serial number twice. So I bought a copy of Phantasy Star Online thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna play this game, and then I find out you can't. So I was like sad for a few days.
The real one.
Yeah, then I had a fucked up history with that game because I accidentally broke one by dropping the disc, and the disc it had the smallest crack on the edge of the disc. The entire disc was fine. The tiniest piece on the edge was missing. Dreamcast wouldn't read it. So I had to buy another one. That shit sucked. I was so mad. Like that was my game. That was oof. Anyway. You know what? I guess maybe this topic for this week is gonna go into a lot of all that stuff anyway, since we're gonna be talking about favorites, like just of our favorite console. Well, not favorite consoles. We're gonna go through all the ones we played on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do top 10, video games for each one. We'll also throw in maybe like our least favorite game, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see along the way if we have like interesting topics to put in there. But like, I just wanted to do that, so we can spread that out every once in a while. We just go into our favorites. So this week we're gonna start with the NES. I mean, unless you want to start with like something earlier.
NES is fine. I think that's where my video game love started.
Okay, cool. Because I don't have any memories of anything before that. The Atari systems and stuff like that. I don't have any memories.
I wasn't crazy about Atari.
So okay, cool.
Once you play NES, you can't go back to those.
Yeah, it was just the way they made the games back then. It was different. It was a different style of game making. Like, yeah. I can't even really quantify it. I think they more felt like back then. It was like, oh my god, I can't believe we got this technology to make this thing that looks like a man move.
Yeah.
And then Nintendo was like, okay, let's make some stories and stuff. Let's make some adventures, because you'll be hard pressed to find like NES games that weren't like sports titles or things like that were like just short. You find like the most random game, and that game is like, oh, why does this game have a epic story and like 10 levels and progression, and like, what the hell? And you find out it's made by a Japanese company, and then you go, oh, okay, I understand the difference between the two now.
Yeah.
And I mean, also we could give credit, because the NES was kind of the savior of video games, because before then, like, I think Atari was like, weren't they filing for bankruptcy?
They were hurting the market a lot, because, and then also the fact that the standards of the arcade games you couldn't get on the arcade. So if you get Pac-Man on Atari, that was terrible.
Yeah. Yes. Understood.
At least NES, they had like a really close adaptation to the arcade.
Or they would be smart and not try to do the arcade and adapt it in their own way for the console. Like, okay, we know that we can't do 1-to-1, so we're gonna take the character and we're gonna make a slightly different game that actually works on this console good, and it isn't just, oh man, that's Pac-Man, and that's Pac-Man, because on the Atari, you just look at it and sigh, but it's all you had. So it is what it is. I mean, you could blame ET. You blame ET for hurting the game market so much, them making so many copies of that. That's okay. Well, here's another thing that I guess we could file into video game lore, that ET thing is real. The rumor of them throwing copies into a landfill because they dug that up not too long ago.
Yep.
And like, that's just a sign of the times of back then. Just like, fuck it, everything's on fire, dump it in a hole. Let's just run away from our problems. Why not? All right, and we're going to take a little break right here just to remind you to follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, also on SoundCloud. What we do is we have this podcast, the It Gets Better Right Square podcast. We also have the Wrestling Babble podcast that's hosted by Merc with the Mic, who's a frequent guest on my show, and that should be on Merc with the Mic on SoundCloud. We post those on YouTube as well, so you can check the Merc with the Mic podcast out on his YouTube channel, which is also Merc with the Mic. And also you can catch the It Gets Better Right Square podcast, as well as the various other playthroughs on the RedCycloneInc YouTube channel. Thank you. So with that said, let's get to the savior of video games in the 80s. The Nintendo Entertainment System.
So which version of the NES did you get? Because
old ass block.
Yeah. Sorry. So which version of the block?
Oh, that I don't know because I got mine in '87, not '85 when it came out.
So you probably still got the gray gun.
No, I had the orange gun.
So you got after they banned the gray gun because back in the day, the fact that it looked like a real gun.
Well, you know what? Here, I'll tell you right now because they tell you the years that somebody else were distributing the system. So I think that might have been a little bit later that I got my system. Maybe like 80, 88, 89, maybe. I'll tell you this. Oh, it was probably 88 because I think the Game Boy came out in 89, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was 1 year before the other. So I got it in 88.
I think I got mine's 86.
Okay, cool.
So I got mine's with the. I think mine started with the when it was when they started putting it out with their orange gun.
Okay, cool.
Because back in like the '83 when it came out with the gray gun.
Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing it later in life and was like, wow, what is that? And yeah, that was the thing. It was the first version.
Yeah. So my cousin was the first one to get it. He got it when I was like 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 86. No, I got mine's at 87.
Okay, cool.
Because I was about 3 years old when I first played it, and that was my cousins. And I played Zelda, I played Mario 1, Duck Hunt, and there was another one that was Mega Man 1.
So the interesting thing about me was I had a chance to get because of the people I knew. The neighbors I had, I had an NES, late obviously, but still before the Genesis came out. And because remember, Genesis came out before Super.
Yes,
so,
it came out 89.
So that year the Game Boy came out, I got a Game Boy for Christmas. And then the next year I was like, okay, cool. You can pick your system. The friends I had next door had a Genesis, they had Streets of Rage 2, they had like a bunch of really good games. Mm-hmm. But that next year they got a Super Nintendo. Yeah. And I have been fascinated with the Genesis. So I could have had a Genesis and a Super Nintendo, and instead I just picked the to replace the Nintendo because mine had broke.
Yeah.
And then I got a Genesis. So I never actually had or played Super Nintendo like while I was out. And or rather owned. I played other people's, never had my own.
I think I was the same way. I had a Genesis first, and my mom was like, "You ain't getting no other system unless that breaks." And then when mine broke, she got me another Genesis.
Yeah.
But I never owned a Super Nintendo when I was a kid. As in, I got older. Once I started high school, I started collecting. I started trying to collect like systems just to play them. Mm-hmm. The fact that I was working, I was doing little odd jobs, so I had money to buy something.
Yes.
So I bought SNES on my own, and SNES was still alive at the time when I did buy it. So I was able to pick up some of the big games that came out, and then also like Saturday. I think I bought it mainly to play Saturday Night Slam Masters.
All right. I mean, the Super Nintendo had the better version because I had the tag team.
Yeah, I think I bought it for that because my friend was like very hyped on it. I remember the first couple of games I rented was Michael Mice from Mars, and
I never played that.
Wasn't good. Okay. And I think I rented because this was during the late cycle of PlayStation 1 just came out, so it's like the last things of Super Nintendo.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So that was when I owned it. So I owned it extremely late.
Yeah.
So I never really had a big like memory as a kid with Super Nintendo. As in, only I played with my friends, play Street Fighter with my friends, stuff like that. But I never owned the system myself. Yes. I probably rented it a few times. That was about it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have never, and to this day, still never like owned a Super Nintendo, and that's partially because of what I just told you, but also because when I went back to start like looking for that stuff, a lot of it was already being ported to like the Game Boy Color, and then shortly thereafter Game Boy Advance. So there's a lot of stuff that's on Game Boy Advance, and to some extent Game Boy Color that
Yeah.
came out on Super.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to play it. Like I really didn't get to play a lot on Super Nintendo. I could probably name on both hands. That's it. I played Street Fighter. I had a really good time. That brings back memories. The Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 2, I got to play a lot of. Like that was the first time. I'll put it this way: Mortal Kombat 2, strangely enough, was the first home console where I've ever seen competitive gaming.
Yeah.
Like where I saw tournament level people playing on a Super Nintendo. That's the first console and the first game. I didn't see it in Street Fighter because it was just me and my kid friends just being silly and doing whatever.
Yeah.
But when I saw Mortal Kombat 2, dudes were doing combos, dudes were playing footsie. Like it was stuff I didn't understand, and I was just fascinated by it.
Yeah.
And like to this day, that's just burned in my brain of like, fuck, it's crazy. But like that, I've never played an RPG on Super Nintendo. I never played Link to the Past more than like the first few bosses because it wasn't mine. Saturday Night Slam Masters had a big impact on me. I remember letting my friend me hold his Super.
Yeah.
And to play that for like 2 days, and like that was really fun. Like my experience with Super Nintendo is very small. I never got to play Super Metroid. Still haven't really. I only played the remake for Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. What's that? Not Zero Mission is the one with this other suit, right?
Yeah.
So it was the Metroid, like I guess it was a remake, the one where they put the evil Samus in there.
Yeah.
Like after Zero Mission, they redid Metroid 1, and they did a few things where they put in like all the superpowers from Super Metroid, like that. I played that version, which is actually really good. I don't know why they didn't bring that back. But anyway, let's talk about the NES. So 85 is when it came out in America, October 18th to be exact. Like I said, I got mine many years later, and you as well, not a day one. So by the time we both got them, they had tons of games out. You know what I mean?
Everyone fucking had a game.
Yeah. Everyone and everything. Like we said, 714.
Korea's company had a game.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that's just like, why? Why?
Like, why am I gonna play this? Like, how do I play this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And 679 were actually released in North America. So, that's what we had to choose from. I mean, I'm pretty sure when we were in our single digits, we were not trying to get import games. So let's just let it be what it is. And I guess from here, well, it officially died in 94.
Yeah.
Game wise, because the last game was released on December 1st, 1994, and that's where you at, Wario? Because I know that was a Wario's Woods.
Yeah.
Which I think that was like a puzzle. No, yeah, it was a puzzle game, wasn't it?
I think it was a puzzle game.
Yeah, it was a puzzle game. And that was the last official game released.
It wasn't good either.
Yeah, it wasn't. It really wasn't. Not a standout Wario title. It's kind of sad because Wario got good games. So, Merc, do you have a list of your top 10 favorites? You've got a ton to choose from.
Yeah.
A lot to choose from. Maybe some would say too many.
Yeah.
But do you have 10 or?
I have 10.
Okay, so we're gonna go through our top 10s for the system.
So why don't we do?
And we can say a little bit of like why,
Yeah. Why don't we do? You give your 10, I'll give my 10, and we go down like that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have a list. So, see, I want to do it individually so we can talk about them.
Okay.
So
go first.
So if I want to start. All right. So at number 10, one of the last games for the system. I think it was released in '94. Yoshi's Cookie.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people know about that game because it came out so late.
Yeah.
But like that game is really fun. It's
a really fun game.
I don't remember what template is stole, because I don't think it's not original. The style of puzzle game for the NES one, because it's different from the Super Nintendo one. It's a little different. It might just be graphics, but like it looks totally different. But yeah, it was just really fun. Like I still remember it. I remember sitting like for hours just like getting through a lot of those puzzles, and it had like little interludes with Yoshi and stuff. And I think the reason I really liked the game was because I like Yoshi.
Yeah.
Which means I had to have played Super Nintendo before I played this game.
Yeah.
So that's where I actually got to know what the hell a Yoshi is. So.
You know, a cool thing about it, if you actually own a Switch, part of the NES collection they give you for having the membership, Yoshi's Cookies in it.
Nice. They know. It's a good game.
That was a fun game. I like the game.
I like the music too.
Number 9. What's your number 9?
Number 9. Also, at the exact same time I got Yoshi's Cookie, I got Kickmaster. And that is a completely unknown game. I don't think 90% of the people who play Nintendo even know what the fuck a Kickmaster is. It sounds generic as hell. Which, if you think about it, a lot of the games on Nintendo just have generic titles.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. Laser Invasion. What?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not very inspired. But Kickmaster was released in '92 in January by Taito, developed by a company named Kid, but I don't know who they are. Japanese company apparently. But like it was just, you know what it reminds me of when I think about it? The story and the artwork for the cover of the game is kind of reminds me of like those old D&D games.
Yeah.
That had like a really muscular man and like a monster and some lady. And Kickmaster is no exception. It's got this really jacked like white dude with an all blue outfit on, just doing a crazy karate kick in the air, and there's like some evil woman in the background, and it's just, it kind of like if this was the cover of like a metal album, it looks super appropriate. And there's like a demon in the bottom like grabbing a princess, like the standard stuff, you know what I mean? But the thing that I liked about it, it was actually a deep game. You leveled up, you learn new kicks for every level, even up to the last one, and they all played into like helping you get through the game. And I thought it was like a really cool way to do martial arts and progression way back then. Like, okay, so it reminds me a little bit of how they do Castlevania with you learn a new move so you can access a new area.
Yeah.
Except it was stage based, so it wasn't you going through a giant castle. It was like, first stage you learn double kick, second stage you learn slide kick, and as you might think, slide kick might let the character slide through an area where normally you couldn't fit because you couldn't do the slide before. So it's stuff like that, and it was really good. I don't remember the music being really good, but I do remember that the level design was actually pretty good.
Wow. Okay, I had to look up the game itself because I was like, Kickmaster sounds so generic. What kind of game is it? And I'm looking at the cover. I've rented that before.
Yeah. It was actually pretty good. It was very fun. It had a little familiar in it too. Like it had a lot of stuff that a lot of games would like do better later on. Yeah. But for a game called Kickmaster, it was actually really good.
Cool. Great.
Yeah, so that's number 9. Number 8 is Batman. And I bet you remember Batman. Like, yeah. Batman had great music. It had really good level design because it was a platformer. It was a platforming action game. But the number one thing I remember about it, it was hard as hell.
Yep. And
also special shout outs to Game Genie because that helped me get through a lot of the really not good games I had. Scott Steiner making an appearance in the podcast.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You give a fuck.
You said give 2 shit. Damn it, Scott. Why you gotta be like this?
Yo, Kickmaster. The Steiner Recliner Master.
Oh God. I would love it if Scott Steiner had a tattoo on his like left bicep that said Kickmaster. Like, wait a second, that's your arm, Scott. I don't care. Don't you get it? All right, Scott. Jesus. You burn a building down too? What's going on?
Oh,
goddamn shame. But the Batman game was made by, I think it was made by Hudson too. It was just like, well, then again, I guess say for that time period, that's not weird because whoever can make whatever game back in those days.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think Warner Brothers, because there was no Warner Game Studios. They didn't give a shit about video games back then.
Yeah.
So it was made by Sunsoft. That's what it was, not Hudson. Sunsoft. I get Hudson Soft and Sunsoft confused. So it was made by Sunsoft. It was actually very good. It came out in February 1990, and it was pretty much, well, I don't want to say pretty much. It was loosely based on the Batman movie.
Very.
Yeah. Because Batman didn't jump all over anything in that movie, and the last encounter with the henchman, where he does all those crazy moves and Batman punches him once, like at the end, and he throws him down.
Yeah.
Like that fight is not like that. It's some dude named Firefly, and it's terrible. But it was just the one thing that stands out about the game. It was super competently made. It was like the music was very, very memorable, but also for a Batman game, they nailed one thing about the character, not his color, because he's like purple with purple like underwear on for some reason.
Yeah.
But they nailed like the sense of jumping up and into high up into places where a normal man wouldn't be. They capitalized on the agility of Batman. And he punched people in the face.
And the utility, they had different weapons.
They had all the gadgets. Yeah, they had the grappling hook to some extent, but I don't think you could swing. That game didn't have a swinging mechanic.
No.
But you could hit people with like the shot that came out. They had the batarang. They had a bunch of stuff in that game.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So number 7, Bubble Bobble. Remember this game? Yeah, I still remember the stage music for that game. Like it's great. I like the little characters, and they would go on to be in the Puzzle Bobble series, which the name got taken from them because I don't know why, and they were called Bust a Groove in America. Yeah. And a lot of people didn't know about that because there was a PlayStation game named Bust a Move.
Yeah.
And so people got them confused, and they were like, "Yo, man, let's play some Bust a Move." I'm like, "No, you mean Bust a Groove." So
I ain't dancing.
No, that he is not on. This is a great song in that game if you haven't played it. Bubble Bobble came out. Bubble Bobble was an old ass game. Bubble Bobble came out in November 88. Excuse me, 88. Made by Taito. I think they're gone.
No, stop.
Is Taito still around? No, that's what it was. And good old Wikipedia let you know. Taito is now owned by Square Enix.
Yep.
So they're no longer their own company. So it is what it is. Maybe we'll get like a future release of this. Do you know if this is on any classic thing for Switch?
Bubble Bobble is on the NES Classic.
Nice. Yes, very good game. I had a lot of memories playing with friends. That game had like 99 levels or 100 levels or something.
Yeah. I
did sit there co-op and beat those. Like, it was hard as hell, but it was really fun because they gave you passwords.
Yeah.
So you could beat it.
Our save.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, passwords were the same. Well, I'm trying to remember. No, I didn't have any Final Fantasies. So I didn't have any games that had any like battery backed.
Yeah, Zelda's the only one.
Oh, actually, yes, Legend of Zelda. I did have the first Zelda. So anyway, that's number 7. Number 6, Contra. Staying in the theme with the co-op games. That's pretty much the reason I like that game, because it was really hard if you tried to play it by yourself.
Yeah.
Without the Konami code. Thank goodness for cheat codes back in the day.
Yes.
Not DLC. Not add-on content. Hey, you want to beat this game? Don't pay us money. Just press in the Konami code. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Up, up, down, down. Shout outs to Xavier Woods. You know the deal. Yep. But like that's funny. It's funny to go back and look at it, because when you look at the cover art for it, it's literally just Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone versus aliens.
Yep.
It's like nothing in this game is original. It's just, hey, this is before extreme copyright. We could just take stuff that looks like your character and put it in our game.
Just give it different color sprites.
Yeah. So red and blue. Blue was Arnold. Red was Sylvester. They have names. I forget them. I know Bill is the blonde guy. I forgot the other guy's name. Fun fact: in the EU, it was called Probotector, and the characters were actual robots because they couldn't have human beings getting shot up.
Oh wow!
And so the sprites look completely different, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Contra debuted in the US February 1988, and that's by Konami. I mean, pretty much if you know Contra, if you know NES, you know what Contra is. It's on the Classic or no?
Yes.
It is?
It's on the NES Classic.
So there you go.
No, Super Contra.
No,
S Contra or C Contra.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. I didn't like Super as much as
that one.
Contra.
Yeah, it's that one. It's not the original Contra.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyways, that is number 6. Number 5, TMNT 3. I thought about it, which one I had the most fun with, and I didn't want to put the list with all of them, but I'll just put it to you this way. Number 1, I thought was a pile of garbage. I did not like that game at all. It did not resonate with me. It did not spell out to me the essence of what the Turtles was about. It wasn't fun. They had everybody in it, but it was not fun to me. It wasn't fun to move. It wasn't fun to fight, so I couldn't get into it. I did beat it one time. That was terrible. TMNT 2 was a scaled down version of the arcade game, which is also really fun, but I had the most fun with TMNT 3, and TMNT 3 was also a co-op game. Mm-hmm. So I did get to play that game co-op, and again, a lot of the older games, if you didn't play them co-op, they did have a different feel. Sometimes you did feel overwhelmed, like they didn't necessarily scale down the challenge when you were playing by yourself for some of these games, and like it just felt more fun, like 2 people taking on a boss in those games especially. One thing I liked about that game was that was the beginning of them making the Turtles feel different. They all had individual special moves. Like Michelangelo had the handspring, Raphael had basically a Psycho Crusher, Leonardo, I think was it Leonardo or Donatello that spun with the weapons on? I think it was one of them in that game. Leonardo. Donatello was it the sliding kick like in Turtles in Time or no?
Yeah, it was the kick.
It was a kick.
And
so
Raphael
that was like
did like a Psycho Crusher.
Yeah. So that was literally the first time we got Turtles in a video game with different moves, which was pretty cool. And it was just very fun.
It was very false advertisement.
Yes. Oh, that's also the thing. If you look at the cover of the game, you see Triceraton shooting a gun with a sword in his hand. I don't think he's in the game at all.
Nope.
At all.
You don't fight him at all.
At all. Why he's there, don't know.
Bullshit.
It just looked cool. They were like, what's the coolest thing, the artwork you can get? Here you go. Looks badass. And it does, but he's not in the game. That game debuted, February 92.
Yep.
And it was by Konami. Who I believe still have the license to the Turtles games of that era. So
yeah. Of those they own the rights to the patent of the arcade game. So Simpsons, X-Men, they all fall in that category.
Nice. Number 4, maybe controversial, but again, to the way I played the games back in the day, it's not really. Double Dragon 3, which was a game I rented. Double Dragon 3's got a weird history because there's a lot of versions of just that one game. The Game Boy version is complete ass. I had that as well and didn't know it. I thought it was the same thing as the Nintendo version. Oh boy, was I sad. Yeah, I beat it because I paid money for it. I had to beat it. So, Double Dragon 3 for Genesis, hot garbage. Come to find out. And then there's the weird arcade version of Double Dragon 3, which is like a pseudo RPG. It's really hard. It's really made to steal your money because you have to pay quarters to get health back in the game, and then it's like that's just no good. But Double Dragon 3 for Nintendo was like, it was loosely based on the Rosetta Stone storyline from the arcade one.
Yeah.
But they took more of the Double Dragon 2 approach, which was like the chunky little sprites they had, not the tall, realistic ones they put in there. so it was closer to the it was closer to the old school ones.
Yeah.
It was also multiplayer, so you had that, which was really fun. Except on the Egypt stage, Double Dragon and platforming don't mix. So I clearly remember that because you could fall to your death from that stage. But it was really cool. That game added like, I think it was 4 characters to the mix. There was like, Billy and Jimmy. There was, I think it was Fang or Wang. I think it was Wang, the Chinese guy, the short chubby Chinese guy with the claw.
Yeah.
There was the big muscle bound dude that was like one of their friends. I forgot his name. There was the samurai, which was my favorite character because he had a sword, but he looked like he was like wearing no clothes. It was odd. Like, how are you a ninja but you don't wear that much armor? Just weird. And I think there was one other guy that was really overpowered. I'm trying to remember. It'll come to me later. But anyway, that was February 91. The reason I liked that game so much is because I rented it, but at the same time a cousin from out of town came in and we sat down and we played that game, and she, God bless her, but she's from the South and she had an accent. And there was an instance where we were playing and she saw the bald-headed characters in that game and she called them Bald Billy. And combined with her accent, I literally pissed my pants with laughter. Like, I remember vividly of her saying that, and then she realized it made me laugh, and she kept saying it, and I had to run to the bathroom. It was hilarious, and it was super fun. Also, that's like the first vivid memory of any girl playing a game like that. You know what I mean? Like, this is cool. This doesn't matter if it's girls or guys. Everybody likes to beat people up. Let's just do this. So that game holds a special place in my heart. And that's number 4. Number 3, Legend of Zelda. To this day, I believe I've only beat that game with Game Genie. That game is really hard, so much so that I hear Nintendo made a special version recently that gives you like everything. Yeah. So yeah, that's testament to that's testament to how difficult that game is. It is not easy. The music was great, the level design was great, the maps for each of the dungeons and stuff. Just the way everything had a purpose. It was like, why do I have a ladder? Well, the ladder is to go over pits, little like 1 block pits, and then you get the silver sword, you get the shield that the likes can eat. Yeah. And then after you learn that, you don't let them touch you because they'll eat your shield that you spent like 300 rupees on or something like that. Yeah, it was a lot of stuff. The Dongo hates bombs. Yep. Like, there's a lot of cool things. I like how they did that game, like how they made that world where there's like characters scattered all over that will tell you how to beat somebody in a different part of the world. Like, if you look at that and you look at Dark Souls, like, you could really see the parallels because there was not a lot of storytelling in that game, but the world told you the story. You could tell there was a graveyard because there were ghosts that followed you around, and they kept coming out of the little squares that had crosses on them that basically told you, hey, that's somebody's grave, and it's a ghost. Like, it had so much different stuff packed into that game. I still can't believe that that game came out so long ago, and it was one of the first ones to have the battery pack. Yep. You can have your save. I don't think if you still have your original cartridge that the battery might be alive. You could be. I don't know if Legend of Zelda's battery lasted that long, or any battery.
There's times you do have to check the battery. It's replaceable. You just have to open the cartridge.
And just for levity, the game came out August 22, 1987. So that's 2 years after it came out, the system debut. So I don't know. You think about it now, that was the first one. But if you think about it, I don't know if 2 people would wait 2 years anymore for a Zelda. They'd be all rabid and angry and shit. Yeah.
Well, the last one was about an 8-year wait.
No, I mean between the debut of the system. Yeah. Because the Switch one came out at least the same year the system came out.
Yeah, it came out. It was.
It's been a long time since
they came out with the system.
Yeah. So like before that, the last time a Zelda game came out, like far from the system's release, it's been a while. Like they usually do come out in like the first year or so.
It was the first 2 The
First two?
second year or third year, yeah.
Okay.
But the N64 one, it didn't come out right away. It came out about a year or two after.
Yeah, I want to say like a year. Because
Wind
it did have.
Wind Waker came out the end of the cycle of GameCube.
But you know there is controversy with Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Why'd you take so long just to deliver a game that nobody wanted to look at? Oh, I'm just joking. I never played that game, so I can't be mad.
Number 3, right?
That's number 3. Number 2, game probably nobody ever heard of.
You're up at number 3. I thought
had. That's number 3.
Okay.
Double Dragon.
Okay.
Number 2, Shatterhand, and I don't think anybody played that game. And it's a shame because it's awesome. Apparently, originally, it was released in Japan by a different division of Namco called Angel, as I want to get this name right. Rescue Soul Brain, which was a Japanese tonkatsu television series produced by Toei, meaning in the same vein of Power Rangers, Super Sentai, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, it really does look cooler in the Japanese because you literally are a Sentai character, and when you power up, you turn into a Super Sentai. Yeah. In the American version, you're just a dude with a bubble vest. I don't understand what they thought Americans liked. Like, did they think that we had to look at just a white dude?
Yep.
I'm not gonna buy this game unless it's a white dude on it. I'm like, because literally the cover of Shatterhand is just a white dude with shades punching the logo.
I did play this.
Super generic looking game. Like,
I did play this game.
I did see the game playing.
I was just watching a video about it, like how obscure the game is now and how much you're going to wind up paying for it if you get it now. But I did see this. I did play this game. I didn't play it a lot, but I did play it. I remember playing it.
It's an action platformer that was more focused on action. The really cool thing about it was there were power-ups that came in the form of the Greek alphabet, so alpha and beta, and you had to mix and match the letters, and you would get a different robotic satellite, which was like a little robot that would float alongside you and attack with you.
Yeah.
And they had different types. So there was a katana one, there was one that would throw like a bolo, there was one that shot like a bouncing projectile that would bounce all over the screen, one that threw grenades. Like, there were a bunch of different types. And if you happen to take the same letters that you spelled to get the first one, and in the same stage spell it again, you would get a suit of armor which looked like the Super Sentai mode from the other game. So on that end, they kept that sprite, and it was just really cool. Like, it also has very, very good music. Like, that's my thing about a lot of games too. They might not be the most popular or even best playing, but if you got really good music, that helps.
Yeah.
And this game has very good music. And it came out in America in December of '91. And my number 1, Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yep.
Just, that game is it's amazing. After 2, you didn't know which direction they were going to go in, and 2 not being like 1, and so you were thinking, what is Nintendo going to do next with their main character, Mario? And they blew it out of the water with Super Mario Bros. 3. I still think it's a tough call, but I give the edge to Mario Bros. 3 over Super Mario World. Like, I like it.
I think I do the same. Mario 3 I like slightly better than Mario World.
I will say I'd probably give it to the All-Stars version of 3. It probably plays better. Like, I'm not sure if they tighten up the controls or not.
Yeah.
But I would say maybe if you try to persuade me that way, I would go, okay. Then again, I would also say the version that came out for Game Boy Advance, with the extra added content and stuff, that's probably the best version of the game.
Well, it was like Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario 3.
Yes, that one. Like, yeah, because the cool thing about those two games, they made a Super Mario World version of that too. They added new stages,
which was Super Mario Advance 3, Super Mario World.
Yeah, I know. Fucking crazy, man.
And they added the coins and stuff that you could get. So it was a bit more challenging in that sense.
Yes, but like Super Mario Brothers 3 is a classic. Most people know what it is if you've owned a Nintendo. I mean, it was technically the star of its own movie, The Wizard.
Yeah.
So, it did get critical acclaim and mainstream acceptance way back in the day.
And it had its own cartoon.
Yes, it did. Which I think was the superior one. I didn't like as much the Super Show. I liked the Mario Brothers 3 version, and Super Mario World cartoon was kind of really, really silly.
Yeah.
You remember Mama Luigi?
Yeah.
And the stupid caveman people. Ugh.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's my top 10. Yes.
All right, my top 10. I'm just gonna go through it fast. I'll expand a little bit things there. Our first one I'll say would be Double Dribble.
Oh, I remember that. I only played it a few times.
Again, there was like lack of like actual good sports games on it, and I think Konami did a good job with some of them. So Double Dribble was probably one of my favorite. Was like a classic basketball game. It was a lot of fun to play. I used to play with my friends all the time. So that'll be number 10. Number 9 will be Blaze of Steel.
See, I never got to play that.
Blaze of Steel was another game from Konami. It was hockey.
Hockey game, yes.
Probably one of the best hockey games that had Gradius. You could play during the halftime show.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you could play it during the halftime show, and then you go back and like you was easy. You could fight. You could do everything. It was a great. it was a great hockey game. So that'll be number 9. Number 8 would be Super Techno Bowl, which is the football, which was a lot of fun. Again, these are the games I used to play with my friends and stuff like that. So those are the ones that I would just get out the way. Those are the sports games in that sense. Number 7 will be Battletoads.
Ah, okay.
No. Actually, it will be Battletoads higher. Number 7 will be Battletoads and Double Dragon for NES. That was
Never
the first
played
version.
that.
That was the first version I played.
Ah, yeah, I never played that. I played the Super version.
And I didn't get to play the Super Nintendo or Genesis version until later on, which I liked more. But this was a fun game for the NES, and it had pretty much what it lacked in graphics. They had 2 more stages.
Okay, cool.
So it was cool.
Do you know if it was as hard? Because
No,
Super Nintendo and Genesis version, they were fucking hard.
They were probably the same difficulty. I won't say it would be. It was kind of the same.
Okay.
The only thing is it had 2 extra additional stages.
Okay. Cool.
That was number 7, right? Number 6 will be damn, what was it? Shit. Number 6 would be Mario 2.
Okay, cool.
I think Mario 2 gets a really bad rap because it wasn't really connected to it. It was a very challenging game. I thought it was different because you were able to use 4 different characters. And I had a good time. I actually beat that game.
Yeah, me too. I really like the music and I like the ending too. Yeah. Mario is sleeping in his bed and he wakes up.
Yep. That was number 6. Number 5 will be Battletoads.
Okay.
Battletoads was epic. I love that game. As hard as it was, I love that game.
Yeah.
The music, everything.
My memories, definitely the music.
Yeah.
Definitely the music. I remember the music. And that's that controversial stage.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I beat that. It was one day before school. I had to go to this class. It was like, turn that shit off. I just got to beat this one level. And I beat it, and I turned it off, and I think I might have never played the game again.
Yeah. All right. My number 4 will be Bucky Yo Hair.
Okay, cool.
Very fun game. Very classic. It had good music. It had good gameplay and all. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm just going to surprise people with my top 3.
Okay.
Because 1, there's not going to be a Zelda in it.
Okay.
So that's one thing I would say. Like, I liked the original Zelda, but it was not one of my favorites, especially when I was a kid.
Mhm.
I found appreciation for it later on, so it's not in my top 10.
Yeah.
My my number 3 will be Turtles 2, the arcade
Okay.
game,
Okay.
because the nostalgic reason of the Turtles like that. This one was a different from the arcade. It had 2 extra stages as well. It had a Chinese dojo, and it had a snow stage,
Yes.
which they added, which was a freaking a wolf in a leather jacket.
Did he have a name like in the series? Did they ever give him a character or something like that?
You know what? I did look him up and I forgot his name, but he had a name in the the comic, well, the game, but
Okay.
he wasn't really in the cartoon story.
Okay. Yeah. He never showed up. All right.
Number 2 would be DuckTales.
I see. That's the one game I never played. Still to this day, I never played DuckTales. I played the Game Boy version. Never played the Nintendo one that everybody loves.
Amazing soundtrack, a lot of fun. Sadly, I didn't put Mega Man 2 in this list because Mega Man 2 I loved so much, but I think I played it so much that it's not as good as it used to be for me.
Okay.
So I think DuckTales really takes the cake, and I think I played a lot of that, and I did everything in that game. I beat it. I got both endings when you're broke, and then when you had all the money.
Wow. Okay.
And it was a really fun game. The soundtrack is good. Honorable mention would be Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, I rented that game. That was a really fun game.
I did love that game a lot, and that's another one I wanted to put in my top 10, but it just slightly didn't make it. And Mega Man 2, just the fact that was the Mega Man game that I became a big fan of Mega Man.
Okay, cool.
Number 1 will be the same one as you, Super Mario 3. I cannot say more than what you said about Super Mario 3. It was an amazing game. I've probably beaten it so many damn times. My favorite version, I guess, would be the Mario Advance 4 version. The fact that it had the Yoshi coins that you could collect it. So they added the Yoshi coins to collect it. It gave it more challenging, and it also gave you things to unlock when you actually get all the coins.
Yes.
Like you get stupid like big headed turtles and shit like that. This was the first Mario game that actually had like full unique worlds. It was just not a different color coat. It was a whole different thing. Like World 4 was giant world, and everything was fucking giant.
Man, I think that must have blown so many kids' minds when they first saw that.
Yeah. So that one, and it holds really dear to my heart. To this day, I have it on two. I own the copy of Mario 3 on the NES. I do have the All-Star version of the game for Super Nintendo. I do have it in my NES Mini, and I do have it in the Game Boy Advance game, and I do have it in my Switch now.
Here's the funny thing about that game. I never owned that game. I only borrowed it from my friends next door. I never had Mario 3.
Yeah, that's a game that worth owning. That's a game that is just like you could easily just pick it up and play, and I think you would just get stuck and keep playing.
Yeah, like anytime I play it, I usually end up beating it.
And I also think it just stands the test of time because I had my nieces playing it last weekend and they loved it.
Yes,
as much as I did. And they had a lot of fun. I think Mario games in general are like that. They easily adapt to anybody, and I think that's what makes a video games is games like that anyone can pick it up and play and just have a smile on their face when they play it. And that's me with Mario 3, except for when you go to World 8 and it's hard as fuck.
See, controversial opinion, I like World 8.
I did like World 8, but there are hard-ass stages.
They are hard-ass until you learn the secrets to some of them. There's some of them that have broken secrets.
Yeah.
The one that I like the most is the one with the battleship. Yeah. Just go under the front in the beginning of the stage and just swim under the whole level. The fact that you could do that is so busted.
Yeah.
But I love it. Yeah, man. Mario 3. But that was the thing I was talking about when it came to what was different about the Nintendo as opposed to Atari. It's like, look at how that game is made. It's Mario. There's no really intricate story like a Final Fantasy. It has a little bunch of text that when you beat a stage.
It's supposed to be a stage. It was supposed to be a production.
A play, yeah. But it's like, there's that layer to it. There's the layer that the way it plays, it's infinitely like gonna be a challenge for somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somebody comes and first plays it, they're like, oh, I don't know how to play this game. Then they learn and then you start to get better at it and you start to master it. And it's just like there's so much to it. Each suit presents a different way to play the game. I've seen crazy people play the game with the frog suit.
Yeah.
From the beginning to the end. Like there's some stuff you can get away with the frog suit. Like don't sleep on it. But like I've seen, you know, just doing that, doing the Tanuki suit, the P-wing, the skip everything. Yeah. I like how they made the star make you flip.
The hammerhead suit was always
that hammer suit was awesome. Little known fact, it could protect you from projectiles if you duck.
Yep.
Like that game had so much going for it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, really fun game. I loved it. I personally really loved it.
Okay. Now, I got a question for you. Do you have a least favorite Nintendo game?
Most movie games.
Not wrong.
I think I did not play one good movie game.
Do you have one that burns you so bad that it still burned your memory?
Lethal Weapon.
Oh my goodness! They made a Lethal Weapon for Nintendo. Oh,
yeah.
Now, okay, what was it?
It was Lethal Weapon 3.
Was it a character game or was it like a?
It was trying to be. Game? It was trying to be a shooting game. It was just really terrible, very glitchy. Didn't really have a point. Also, I was telling you this one earlier. Dirty Harry. Terrible.
Dirty Harry.
Very ugly, very dingy, very terrible, very terrible.
Gotcha.
Go ahead. That's those two.
Did you ever get to play stuff like Mick Kids or Noah's Ark? Any of the notorious ones, like the video game made?
No, my mom
never
didn't.
showed.
My mom didn't really. My mom didn't really have like that. I need to play a Jesus game.
Okay. My least favorite game. Man. I was gonna go there. But you know what? I'll do you one further and say Wolverine, because that was the most disappointing game I've ever played.
Yeah, that made me sad.
That made me sad. I played the X-Men game first, and I saw the terrible treatment that Nightcrawler and Colossus and Wolverine got, and Cyclops got in that game, and was just like, "What is this garbage?" And then the same friend, they also had the X-Men game, the Wolverine game, excuse me, and it has cool ass cover art, like it's literally comic art, and it's like, how could they mess that up? But guess what? LJN.
Yeah.
If you don't know, LJN, which it really is a division of Acclaim, which technically is a part of EA.
Yep.
Well, was way back in the day. It was like not a part of. It was a competitor to EA, because I remember Acclaim was really like Midway at the end. Like they folded into Midway, I believe.
Yeah, Midway bought most of their stuff off.
So that's the thing about them, is like, if you go further back in Midway's thing, it's kind of like, oh, remember Acclaim? Yeah. And they made it a lot of. They have a history of making notoriously bad Marvel games because they had the license. Adamantium Rage. I know a lot of people probably remember the game. Have you played it? It's terrible.
Yeah.
The Silver Surfer is notoriously bad. LJN game for Nintendo, but it has amazing music. Shout outs to the composer for that game. But like, yeah, LJN made a lot of kids sad. Remember Spider-Man versus X-Men? I mean, Spider-Man and X-Men, excuse me.
Hey, no, I don't know what I'm thinking about it.
Remember the Spider-Man and Sinister Six for Nintendo? I hardly remember that. It was atrocious. So, yeah. We're lucky that we live in a world where somebody did some better X-Men games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody finally figured out how to make comic book games, because Marvel had it real bad for a real long time.
Yep. You know what game was actually quite surprising, but it's just extremely short on NES?
What's that?
Punisher.
Yeah, Punisher was fun.
Punisher was a good game.
Punisher was fun. I mean, it was a shooting game,
Yeah.
but it was fun. Yeah, I will admit that game was actually fun. I played it a few times at a cousin's house.
You know what's also like? I forgot to mention it in the.
Well, we can take this time since we said our least favorite games. If you want to give any game a shout out, because I have a few that they didn't make the list. The Nintendo version, I never played it.
I love Rampage. Rampage, I spent many times trying to beat that damn game. That one had like 125 levels.
Yeah, it did. I only played the arcade one and then 64. Like, I never played Nintendo.
I liked that one a lot. Castlevania. Ninja Gaiden, I forgot to put him.
Here's another terrible game. Have you ever played RoboCop?
RoboCop was actually pretty. I like RoboCop.
Really?
Yeah.
I can only say RoboCop 1 because I never played 2 or 3. I did not like RoboCop 1. After the first stage, it got to a level where it was like almost impossibly hard because it was loosely based on the arcade version.
Yeah.
Which was made to quarters up.
I think I never passed that stage, so that's weird. I was like, I don't remember that though.
I do want to give a shout out to games that were not that bad and they tried something experimental. The Rocketeer.
I know.
It wasn't that good, I will admit. But it was a cool thing because it was one of the first games to try to experiment with player controlled flight with the character. Like, there aren't really that many games where a character can fly in a game.
Yeah.
So shout outs to that game. Shout outs to Spy vs. Spy. Did you ever get to play
I remember that game. It was kind of like a first person shooter in a way. One person was on the bottom, one person was on the top, and they had to find each other.
Yes, but it was they did have it in third person. They did have it third person. Yeah. And I remember that because it was so ahead of its time, where you would set up traps to catch the other player.
Yeah, I remember that game.
That was fun. That was legitimate fun. Special shout outs to another piece of garbage. Do you remember Street Fighter 2010, the final fight? This is an official. Oh, that's your answer. I got you. This is an official Capcom game, and little did we know, the main character is Ken. In the year 2010.
Even Ken don't remember that game.
2010 has already passed.
Even 2010 Ken don't remember that game.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. I think that was their attempt to tie together Final Fight and Street Fighter, but they threw it in the far-flung future of 2010.
Yeah.
Where apparently the world was going to be in chaos and we were going to have a cyborg Ken.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. Game was terrible.
Yeah. Oof. Even Ken, I think Ken woke up in that dream in the end of the game.
I wish.
Like, what was this nightmare?
And then there's a few games I want to shout out because they didn't get the love they deserve by getting remade properly. I would say, like, they're not really on collection. They had other games in the series, but they didn't get, like, you know how everything gets re-released every now and again on a game. And that is River City Ransom.
Yes, I forgot to mention that one.
That is one of the most underrated video games on Nintendo, period, because it had so much going for it. It had so much depth to it. It had an RPG system. It had money. It had stores. It had non-linear progression because some of the stages like led it to different areas and stuff. Like, it was ahead of its. If you want to say a game was ahead of its time, that game was ahead of its time.
No,
and it never got brought back. Like on a collect. No, but I mean, like, it's not like that's a game that deserves to be on a like NES classic.
It's on the Switch.
I figure it's not brought back, but I mean, like, literally for collection purposes, it's never brought back for collection purposes.
No, it's on like the if you have the online on NES, it's on there.
Yeah,
it's free.
Like, I think it was on the Wii U, and I think it might have been on the Wii.
River City Ransom was good. I remember. I do remember that. That was actually a lot of fun. I used to like a lot of those beat 'em ups. So like Two Bad Dudes.
Bad Dudes was a good one. Very hard, but it was a good one.
Two Bad Dudes, Double Dragon. I liked Narc.
Yeah, I like the Super Nintendo one though.
Yeah.
The Super Nintendo, because it was slightly better than the Nintendo one. But yeah, Narc was pretty good. I never played Prince of Persia for NES.
Yeah.
kind of feel bad because I know it was just a break the game. How do you feel about Punch Out?
Oh fuck!
Because
That was one I
classic.
forgot.
That's a classic.
You know what?
But I will say I never owned it, and I only played it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
I
I will have to take Mario 2 out my list and put Mike Tyson Punch Out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I played that game so much, and that just pretty much slipped my mind. I love that game. I've beaten that game many times. I have a video of Julio getting his ass kicked by his last killer twice.
Nice.
Twice. He will blame the alcohol. He will blame the alcohol.
Okay.
He got his ass kicked twice.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you looked at the list, 600 something plus games, and there's a lot of stuff I played maybe like once.
And one last one that I want to mention, there was just honorable mention because this is something me and my sister played at the time.
Wall Street Kid.
It was called Anticipation.
Wow, what's that?
It was like kind of a game show kind of game. It's pretty much like a Pictionary. Like it would draw a picture and whoever had pressed the button first, they write down what it is.
I see.
In that sense, and there was 4 players. It was one of the first games to use the 4-player pad.
Wow.
Or if you did use two controllers, one had used the buttons, one used the direction pad. So you had 4 buzzers.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool.
And you just it was like a board game. You answer right, it goes to the next one. It goes to the next one. And each color that you land on had a different category, so it would be like people.
Oh wait, hold on. Okay. It was giving you like the static or whatnot.
Oh yeah.
It was getting distorted, not static.
Yeah. So pretty much like all the art was not that great. It was boxy.
Yeah, for the time.
Most of the time, you could pretty much pick up what they're doing and stuff like that.
Yes.
But it was a classic game for me. Like again, we used to play that shit all the time, and that was the one game for the family. And also Tetris. I completely forgot Tetris.
I was a Game Boy Tetris person. That's why, because I got mine so late.
Yeah.
And Tetris came with the Game Boy. That's where I played Tetris.
I had the Game Boy, and I think I got Game Boy the Christmas it came out. And you know what? My mom used to take my Game Boy to play Tetris.
Yeah. Tetris is that good. It's that good. It's just that good.
Yeah.
It's that good. Also, I just want to, this is another one thing that I kind of feel bad for, but this is why I never got the love for it. I never played Bomberman. And Bomberman actually debuted 1 and 2. Like I never got into that series, but like, kind of feel bad because
I think Bomberman was like kind of more of an Asian game, like Asian style game than American. Like I never liked Bomberman.
Really? Okay.
I never liked Bomberman. I tried them. I played them. I've never liked them games.
Wow. Okay.
I even tried the new one out that has Xavier Woods.
He's in the game? Oh yeah, I do remember. That's
costume,
right. He is in it. Yeah.
He has his costume. It's okay. Like I just never got the point of the game.
I just realized is like that's the thing that's beloved, but like for me it never like stuck. But also because of the way I had systems, I never had Super Nintendo, which is where Bomberman went.
Yeah.
Because it went from Nintendo to Super, not to Genesis, so I didn't play that much.
Yep.
And I was always into it. I do own the Virtual Boy Bomberman puzzle game though.
Okay.
Which is hard. I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of bad stuff on here. I don't really want to shout out Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yeah. I liked it because I had it, but in retrospect, it's terrible. Dick Tracy, I only beat that game because of Game Genie. Like, there's a lot of stuff. You know what? Shout outs to Game Genie. Shout outs to putting infinite health on in games and just beating them because Game Genie made a lot of stuff more fun. Like I remember Legend of Zelda putting on the cheats to like have infinite health or like always have the sword that shoots. I remember Mario putting moon jump on and seeing what that does. Like when you just jump off the screen and you come down at the end of the level. Like, yeah, there was some pretty fun stuff going on with the Game Genie back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's about it for this episode. I don't want to go into any other stuff because we just wanted to have this one thing, talk about this in depth.
Yeah.
And I don't want to dilute it with like news and stuff. So, all right. Unless you got anything else to say about the NES, you got anything?
Yeah, NES is one of my favorite systems. I still own my original one.
You know what? Okay, before we end this episode, what score would you give the NES?
NES?
Out of like, if you can quantify a score out of 10 for the NES,
a 9.
You would give it a 9 out of 10.
I give it a fair. I give it an 8 just because the fucking blowing and.
Yes, yeah. You're right.
I'll give it an 8 because of that.
I would give it the same. I would think about how much fun I actually had playing those games. How many bad games I had to sit there and play, but I was so happy to play. You know what I mean? I just have really good memories with that system. So yeah, I would give it an 8 as well. It definitely wasn't perfect.
Yeah,
definitely wasn't perfect. It wasn't glitch free. That was the first game where I knew what glitches were because you would see like the little boxes mess up and stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't perfect. Games weren't all perfect, but for the most part, it was just always it was mostly a fun experience. So yeah.
Yes, a good time, and I was able to bond my family playing the game.
Yeah.
Because like my mom played the games with us, like the anticipation game I'm telling you about. Like my mom used to play.
Mm-hmm.
My mom would play with us, and we'll all be like really into it and stuff like that. And NES tried everything.
Yeah,
they had everything.
It really did.
They had the running pad. They had
Rob the Robot. I never had that game. Gyromite.
Nothing.
Well, I mean, listen. He had one job.
Yeah. He became a soda holder.
Wow, Rob, what happened? He's supposed to be so good.
Power glove.
The Power Glove.
Which was pointless.
Did you ever have any experience with that?
Yeah, I had it.
I got to touch it once because I knew somebody who had it, and it didn't work. It didn't work good.
That's
all I remember. Yes.
It looked cool.
Shout out to Triforce. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Making the Power Glove cool long after it was cool.
Yes, NES was. I guess that was my childhood. That was the first system I grew up on. I did have a Sega Master System, but I have very brief memories with it. Over the I guess I had more of everything with it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. All right, so that's it for this week. Thank you for listening. This has been another episode of the It Gets Better I Swear podcast. Make sure you catch us on YouTube, where this is going to go up first. And then it'll be on our SoundCloud, which is also RedCycloneInc. We also did a wrestling babble earlier, and that's going to be on Merc with the Mic's YouTube channel. Yep. And that's also going to go on his SoundCloud later, and that is Merc with the Mic as well.
Yes.
Make sure you catch us on all of our social media at RedCycloneInc. We have Twitter, Instagram, we have Facebook. We also have a Tumblr and the WordPress. And Merc also has the same thing except for the WordPress.
Yeah. YouTube, Merc with the Mic. I just did some Spider-Man playthroughs. Did 2 parts so far.
Mm-hmm.
Doing it on Ultimate mode and the New Game Plus.
Did you use the Web Blossom?
Yes. You know what? That move is so cheesy. It helps so much.
I know.
Yeah. But it's great. It's great. I'm playing the Spider-Man New Game Plus. I will have more videos up while doing it. Also, I'm also streaming it on Twitch, so you can watch that live on Twitch when I do them. My Twitch is Merc with the Mic as well. We just had a Power Ranger special this week for
last week. Oh, you talking about the one you just did?
And then we just did Mega Force, which should be out later this week.
Mm-hmm.
We did our review of Super Mega and Mega Force, which is the same season, just one's super, one's not. I got a more liking to the season than I did when I first watched it.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, it's some cool stuff.
All right, cool.
That's it.
So yeah, make sure you check that out on Merc's SoundCloud page, Merc with the Mic.
Yes.
Also starring, Tommy Guns?
Yes.
The home?
Tommy Guns or Tenacious T, whatever.
Tenacious T, Tommy Guns.
Yeah.
He's out there doing it real big with Merc. So
Yeah,
make sure you listen.
Yeah.
All right. Also, don't forget about the Jenkins and the sandwiches.
Yes.
He loves those sandwiches.
He does. Like he can't have them.
No, they're bad for him. All that cholesterol, no good for the Jenkins.
No.
But he loved them sandwiches. I'm just okay. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Laters.
And yes, is awesome.
Yes. Bye one.
Bye. All right, y'all. Peace.